All right. Thank you guys for coming. We're excited to have you all here. We have a guest speaker today, but we are bringing her in virtually. So we have Andrea Hattan here. Fun fact, in case you wanted to know, Andrea and I went to high school together a long time ago. That's how I originally met her, and then have gotten to watch her career grow as she has founded and has run the Hive now for, I believe, 6 years. Andrea, you can correct me
Almost,
if that's
April.
No, maybe not 6. I might be giving her too. Oh, I hope it doesn't cut out like that. That cut out a little bit. So hopefully when I am off, maybe it'll connect to you better. We'll see. We'll see. It's remote. It's fine. So let me introduce you to Andrea. Again, she's the founder and owner of The Hive, which is a women's-based co-working space here in Wichita. And beyond that, she has also been a teacher. She has also worked in the marketing world as a copywriter. And she does a lot of marketing, social media management, content creation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so she's going to talk to us a little bit about the Hive, but also just how she has optimized all of the many things that she does and the way that she has found gaps in the market to really create a space for herself and a space for women at the Hive, and fill the gap that people need. So without further ado, I will let Andrea, and hopefully we'll stay connected.
Okay, awesome. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm hopeful because I am not able to see you now. So I don't know if there's a comments, private chat where you can let me know if you can hear me okay, but I'm going to assume you can. So let's get started. I've got my presentation. If you guys will put that on the screen, I think you're able to just see me right now. There we go. Okay, so this is just kind of all the things I know about website creation that I've learned over the years. And I am by no means an expert on usability or accessibility or any of the super technical sides of websites. But what really matters with websites is who you're speaking to, who your end user is, and what you're trying to get across. And so we're going to cover a few things, just kind of hodgepodge style. I'll talk a little bit about me and my background. We'll talk about the purpose of a website, a little bit on usability and accessibility. We'll get into content design and layout, talk a little bit about SEO, and talk about some of the tools like WordPress and other builders that you can use to create websites, and then how you can get in touch with me if you want to talk more. So my name's Andrea Hattan. I did go to Goddard High School, left out of the state and then out of the country for a little bit, came back about 10 years later. So I'm a boomeringer to Wichita. I really love Wichita because it's got small town vibes with big city ambition. So you kind of get a little bit of both. You get to really be somebody here. If you want to be involved in local politics or sit on boards, it's a lot easier and more accessible to do that here, even as a young person, than it is in some of the bigger cities. As Jessica said, I did start the Hive in 2018, so almost 6 years ago. In April, it'll be 6 years. And we have served over 600 women during that time here locally. They've all been local women for the most part. We've had a few that have moved away and kept their membership to keep the connections. But what we do there is really provide a space for women to focus on work they love, whatever that means to them. And yes, men can come. We do day passes for men. They can come and check out our space. And a lot of guys do like to come and work here. It's a really cozy, welcoming environment. So this is just a little background video, a little play in the background, maybe I have to hit play, that kind of shows you the space. But this space was really born from me coming, I'm going to have to keep hitting play, from me coming out of a website design and development company and working remotely and really feeling isolated as I was working from home. And I wanted a space where I could connect with other women in business and where we could bounce ideas off of one another. And the existing spaces at the time were a lot of men in the tech industry, coders, developers, software engineers. And I was working with a lot more creatives, and I wanted a space that would suit their needs. I really don't know why this video isn't playing the whole thing, but I'll just keep hitting it as I talk. And so my background, again, was as a teacher. So I had been used to being around 200 plus people every day. And then I went to work at a marketing company as a copywriter, and we were designing $20,000 websites for speakers, authors, coaches around the country. And I learned a whole lot. It was a fire hose of information about website design and development. I learned what went into these giant, expensive websites. And I also learned how to make websites more on a budget and quick and easy and dirty, so to speak. And in that process, I learned a lot about funnels, which a lot of people, maybe you've heard the name of, but you didn't really understand the difference between a funnel and a website. Funnels are, they're directing people to one particular action. And it's really kind of controlling that user experience in a more intense way. When you go to a website, you typically have a bunch of different menu items at the top to click on. And you can get lost. You can go down a rabbit hole on a blog post that's linking you to another blog post that's linking you to another page. And there might be pages on the website that you wouldn't see even from the main navigation. In a funnel, you're typically going down one particular chosen path. So if I want you to click to fill out your name and email address to get on my email list so that I can market to you, and I'm going to promise you a freebie download. You might put in your information, and then on the next page, you'll see that freebie download. And then I can send you anywhere else, also maybe go here or upsell you to something. And so it's a very specific track that people are taking versus a website where you can kind of go anywhere. And so we'll look at an example, I guess, of that here in a minute. But I won't continue going through this video, but you can kind of see a little bit of what the Hive space is like. After working at that website design development company, I was meeting a lot of clients. I was working a lot with people freelance on the side. And this is something I really always recommend to students. If you can always have a side hustle, so to speak, something that you create, something that you do on the side. I was a copywriter on the side. Some of you might be website designers on the side, or developers on the side, or graphic designers or whatever on the side. If there's a skill set that you have that you can always be doing on the side, it means there's never a gap in your resume. And so there have been several times in my life when I've been unemployed or underemployed, but I wasn't really, because I was always able to work freelance as an editor or a writer. And so what I did when I was at my full-time marketing job is I was professionally a copywriter there, but I was also on the side working with a lot of business owners that wanted to create content. And content is really the word for words on your website, or really any type of things on your website. Content can also be images and videos and photos and things like that, graphics. But in my case, I was writing the words. So the words on people's websites, the words that go out in email marketing campaigns, the words that go on social media, the words that go on any handouts or brochures that people do, even the words that go in the transcripts of a video that someone's going to record, or a speech that someone's going to give. And so I was building my repertoire of clients on the side as I was at that website design and development company. And I got enough clients that it replaced my full-time income. And this is a cautionary tale, because I did leave my full-time job. I had 3 clients that had replaced my income. And shortly after leaving my job, I actually lost one of those clients, which was a third of my income, which is kind of scary. So that is a lesson in the world of entrepreneurship. Although you do have more freedom and flexibility in some ways, you also don't have that security of knowing that you're going to get a certain amount for your paycheck every single month, no matter what. You are more of like a hunter rather than a farmer, so to speak, is kind of the metaphor. So you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. There might be those times of feast and those times of famine. And so I learned very quickly that I wanted to have something more of a recurring structure. And I like to diversify income. And so the Hive was born out of a couple of things. It was born out of my need. I always call it wouldn't it be great if you've ever had a wouldn't it be great if moment, that means it's a business idea. And so anytime there's something that is bothering you or isn't done the way that you would like it to be done, that's a potential business idea. It doesn't mean that you should start a business every time you say that or have that happen to you, but you could. I always have business ideas all the time, and my challenge is more to bringing them in. And so the Hive was born out of that. And I actually am going to have you keep the slide back up because I'm going to show you one more thing. So another challenge or another thing that I thought recently was, wouldn't it be great if there was a space where I could get all of my messages in one place and do all of my marketing for my website? And if I could have my website and my CRM and my sales process and my email marketing and all these in one place. It really started with the messages. I was tired of checking Facebook for my Facebook messages, Instagram for my Instagram messages, Google My Business for those messages, my text messages for my business, my voicemails, all of the messages. And so I found a software that did that, and I actually white label it. So if you've heard of that before, it's basically you can put your branding on an existing software and sell it as your own. And so basically I've been able to tweak this software to meet my clients' needs. And this is what I'm currently using to design my websites and landing pages and things in. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But let's get into the meat of the content. So those are my two big businesses that I run right now, the Hive and BFF and Biz, which is my white labeled version of the software. And the other business I do is coaching and consulting. So I do VIP days for people. I'll sit down with them and build an entire website in a day and build out their whole business structure. And I've done it so many times that I can do it pretty fast now. And so I'm a big proponent of action, and done is better than perfect. And so when it comes to websites, so like the purpose of a website is that you're really trying to communicate who you are and how you help people as a business owner. And so really any website, any business, that's what they're trying to communicate. Who are they? How do they help people? You'll notice if you go on a website, you'll see the About Us typically is something you always see. There's a homepage, there's an About Us, there's sometimes services or products. Depending on what service or product is, there might be multiple tiers of pages for that. There's typically a contact us. How do you get in touch with that person? There might be, if they have resources that they want to share with you, that's a common header in a website as well. I'm trying to think what I might be forgetting. So there's a few common headers that you'll see no matter what website you do. And there's a few other things that you're going to see every time there's a website. There's typically, you have your hero image, the big thing that you see, the above the fold, right? If you were looking at a newspaper, an old school newspaper that's folded, what is above that fold is the main thing that you're going to see first. But really at the end of the day, the purpose of your website is to get someone to work with you, right? To either buy from you or work with you if you're a service provider or if you have a product to buy from you. That's the whole purpose. Even if it's a nonprofit, it's to buy into the idea of that nonprofit or to maybe donate to that nonprofit, or to educate people about what that nonprofit is about. Again, it's still about buying into the idea. And so that is the whole point of a website. So we need to keep that in mind as we're designing and creating websites, is really, what is the point of this? If the whole point is to get someone to do a very direct action, that's where kind of landing pages come in. Yeah, you can have your main website, but if there's a specific action that you're wanting someone to take, you don't want them to be clicking in 20 different places and get lost on there and then bounce off the website, right? You want them to take your targeted action. So a lot of website designers over, the last decade or so have really gotten into funnels and landing pages because they can control the flow of traffic a little bit more than you would on a website where you're kind of going everywhere. And so when we talk about usability of a website, if you get on your analytics of your website, you can see how many people are visiting your website from a mobile phone. You might be able to see how many people are visiting from an iPhone versus an Android or from a tablet. You can see if they're visiting it on a desktop. You can see if they're visiting it on Chrome or Safari or any of these things. So there's the softwares that they're using, and then there's the devices that they're using. And so when you talk about usability, you really want to make sure that your website is able to be used no matter what device or what software someone is using. And so you can't have all of these devices and all of these softwares yourself, right? So how do you figure out whether your site is user friendly on these different softwares? So I'm going to show you a little trick that anybody can do. You may already know this, some of you may not, but I'm going to show you a trick I use to figure out how a website's going to look. So I'm going to go ahead and present. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to present a different screen for you guys. Let's see. Okay, so I've shared that. Okay, so this is my website for, let's do my Hive one. So this is my website for the Hive. I am currently using a Chrome. I'm on the device that you're on matters as well. I'm on, what is it about this Mac? I'm on a Mac with Mac OS Monterey. It's a MacBook Air, right? An older version. And so if I right click on any website that I'm on, at least it's right click on a Mac, might be something different on a PC, and I go down to inspect, and I think you can still see this, yes. It looks like gibberish for those of you who aren't coders, right? I'm not a coder either, but all we need is this over here. So where it says dimensions, you can change this. So look, I don't have to own an iPhone SE to see what my website will look like on an iPhone SE. I don't need to own a, iPad Air or a Samsung Galaxy. So this is a fun little trick to use to see how your website's going to look on different different devices. I can also just manually change the dimensions and see what it's going to look like if they're zooming in or things like that. Or what if they've rotated their device to the side? What does that look like? You can even show like the frame of whatever device you're using. Not really sure what that did. Let me go to like an iPhone, see if it'll show me. I don't know what the device frame does. Sorry. There's just different features you can use on here. You can capture a screenshot too. So if you're wanting to see, like a lot of people will share a screenshot from a phone and they think they have to be on that phone to do that. You don't necessarily need to do that. You can do it from here. So that's just a fun little way to check your usability. You could just X out of it there. The other thing to think about when it comes to usability is just if my grandmother, who's 93 years old, was going to use this website, what would she click on? How would she know how to navigate it? Things like that. So think about your, potentially your oldest user or your user that's not very tech savvy, and how would they be navigating your website? So as you're highlighting your buttons, like, do they know that the button is highlighted? So sometimes, having it change a different color to see that it's highlighted is a great way to do that. I like to hyperlink the phone number so that if somebody's on their device, if they click it, it'll open it up as if they could call the phone number. That's a neat little trick you can do with HTML. Just look it up on Google, how to hyperlink a phone number. And that's something I noticed a lot of websites don't do that is super helpful. I mean, how many of us have had to copy the text and then paste it over into your phone number, how to dial it? And a lot of people in older generations especially don't necessarily know how to do that, how to copy paste on their phone and move things over. Like my mom would like write it down. So if she could just click on it, that would be handy. Drop downs can be handy to keep your main menu simplified so that it's not so overwhelming. And then a lot of people know to click on the logo to go back to the home page. So they used to do a home button here, but a lot of people do know to click on the logo. So that's something that's kind of moved too. When we're talking about, I'll get into accessibility a little bit here as well. It's usability and also accessibility. Using serif versus sans serif, you just want to be mindful of how that's going to show up. You want to have contrast as well between your if I'm using this white text and a lot of the video is white and it's hard to see, like you might want to shadow your video. Is something that you can do if you have a video in the background. You also, if you have a video in the background or anywhere on your site, you also want to have a version that is a photo. So if somebody's device is not able to play a video, what will your site default to then? You don't want it to just be blank. You want it to have a photo that is standing in there. And then something else I learned at the website design development company I worked for was to use what they call bobs. So we call them bits of bold. And it's basically highlighting the important things that you want someone to remember from your website. So as I'm scrolling down the website, we are looking for headlines, subheads, and bobs, right? These, imagine if someone just skimmed your website, would they still understand what you're trying to communicate to them, what you're selling, right? And when it comes to accessibility, I won't get too deep into this because it's not my area of expertise, but you want all of your images to have alt tags so that if a screen reader was reading this instead of a human, it would communicate what that image was. And just a note, like if you were using a screen reader and it was reading this web page, you wouldn't care that this person has red hair or what their shirt looks like or any of that. It would just be, a smiling woman using a laptop with co-working space behind her, right? Those are the things that are relevant to somebody that's looking at this page. You don't need to say like on a wood grain table with, white tables and a colorful rug with pictures up on the wall. Like no one cares about that unless you are focused on the image and the things in the image really matter. Just high level overview of what's in the image that matters to this. And so same with all your images. And then videos, of course, you want to make sure they have captions so that if somebody can't hear it, that they can read it, or that their screen reader can read the things in your site. And just being mindful of same things with your footer, like that all of your links are actually working, going where they're supposed to, that you can do those hyperlinks. You, of course, need your privacy policy and terms and conditions and disclaimer if you're collecting any information from people. There are fun tricks in code that you can use to make sure that your date is always updated. And, there are add-ons and widgets that you can use for different features. So we have a widget that goes actually directly to the BFF and Biz platform. So if they message me on here, it will text me and I can live interact with them. And then if I miss it, then I'll have it for later and I can text them later. Okay, so let me go back to my little overview here. So when we're talking about content design and layout, again, you just want to make sure it looks good on all the different screens that you're using, screen sizes that you're using. And when it comes to SEO, one of the most important things I think is what does this website look like when you share it on social media? So, gosh, I haven't looked at this in a while. I should have double checked it before, but let me try to share my website on social media and see what comes up. It might be old. Let's see. I'm not being a good teacher right now. So there should be an image that shows up here. Let me go try like one of my other links. Okay, so mine's a little off for the sizing. Sometimes it's hard to get the sizing right. They will share the sizing that they use for social media shares, and then it will update and change. So it's important to kind of update and change those things, but you'll want to make sure the sizing fits in here. Don't be like me, make sure it fits. And so when you're sharing your metadata, you want to have a title, you want to have a description. Do what I say, not what I do, right? This stuff does take time, but it is worth it. So when someone shares a link from your website, it will tell more about your business. And this one, the Hive is an inspiring space in downtown Wichita, etc. I just on my image, need to fix my image there. And how you can find this stuff out, this took me a while to learn. Facebook, I think it's called Descrubber. That might be the right word. Debugger, there we go, debugger. So if I have updated my Facebook or my metadata that I'm going to be sharing on my website, and Facebook, for example, has not like fix the image, they're still sharing the old image, you can actually put your URL in here and click debug, and it will kind of refresh the image that it has for you. And so I don't know if this works for other social media sites or how to get other social media sites to do it. They probably have their own, like, for developers, but I'm assuming it works for both Facebook and Instagram since Meta owns both now. But this is just a good one to know. It's developers.facebook.com/tools/debug. I've used that one quite a bit when I'm trying to figure out what my website shows up as when I'm sharing it on social media. So with meta titles and descriptions, you're using keywords in there, and it's also what's going to show up if Google is giving like a preview potentially of your website. So this is another one I probably should have checked before this. Well, let's see, the Hive Wichita. So if I type in the Hive Wichita on Google, now I am logged in as me, so you're seeing it a little bit different than like your average user would see. You can see my Google My Business data, but you'll see that this is also where those meta descriptions are showing up in the titles. So I have co-working space, the Hive Wichita, Kansas, downtown, all in my meta title there, and then my description that goes a little bit further. You just want to make sure that these are optimized, right? And then anywhere else that you've ever been shared on the web, it's just important to kind of keep up to date with those things. Like if your contact information changed or things like that, you might want to contact where that had been posted so that it could stay updated. So that's getting a little in the weeds. SEO, if you're wanting to build SEO for a site, you definitely want it to have a Google My Business listing, even if you don't have a physical address, because Google likes when you play with them, right? And so this is playing with them. This is their version of social media. A lot of people don't know you can post updates to your Google My Business, and Google likes this because they like when you're playing in their sandbox. And so you want to be updating. You can update this through, when you post your other social media posts, and you want to make sure that it's linking to everything correctly, and it's going to give you better results on Google. So also with SEO, there's a tool I really love called Answer the Public. And let's just do instapublic.com. You can plug in your topic or whatever keyword that you think people are searching for. And you can basically, it'll give you all of the data of what people are actually searching for. So it'll show you really pretty visual of, if I type in co-working, people might be searching, what is co-working? Where are the best co-working spaces? When is co-working a good fit for me? Whatever people are actually searching in Google. And so you've probably gone to Google at one point and typed something in. Like if I type co-working into Google, I can see a few of these, right? Things that people are searching, but this is going to be the full breadth. And so this is a great way to kind of dominate the SEO in a particular area. I think you can do a couple of free searches. I have the lifetime membership on this just because I use it so much, but it will help you infuse those words into the copy on your website and your alt tags and things like that. And so when it comes to SEO, it's really just about both repetition of the keywords without sounding like a robot, but also about where else your link to your website is appearing. So when I did that search for the Hive, you could see that I appear on other websites. So it's on LinkedIn, it's on Choose Wichita, it's on the Chamber of Commerce, Wichita Mom, Visit Wichita, TikTok, other sites. So there's other sites with authority, which means they have a lot of people going to them and they've been up a long time. If your link is on that website, it's going to help give authority to your website that you're building. And so this is also something that you can do in the Google Analytics side of things, is you can have it go to particular sites. You want to build out your sitemap and all of that. I haven't gone too much into that techie stuff myself. I should do better about that, but these should essentially be things that I've curated to where I want people to go for my site. Okay, so with SEO and then with the builders, okay, a lot of people think that they need to have their website on WordPress because it helps with SEO or whatnot. WordPress is a bit of a monster. Our site is on WordPress currently, but I've built out all of my landing pages on BFF and Biz because it's simpler, easier, faster. So WordPress, it's very intense. You can get in here and get in trouble. You can go down rabbit holes. But they do have a lot of great plugins. So there's plugins that you can use for different widgets, there's different themes and things that you can do. But my main site lives here. And then I have a actual plugin for my BFF and Biz so that I can actually still have my landing pages show up under my main website and be embedded in it. But the builder that I use is this, and there are a million different builders out there, each with their pros and cons. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are drag and drop builders now, and there are plugins that you can use in and themes in WordPress to do drag and drop builders as well. But like I said before, there's differences between websites and funnels. So when you've got your website, you've got different pages on your site that go out. When you've got a funnel, it's more of a directed thing. So if I go to, let's see, my Join the Hive, I've got one page that asks them to do something, and then they go to another page that asks for something or gives them something. And then it might have other different pages along the way. And there might be even products tied to that. And so an interesting thing I like to see is, when a website builder has statistics on how many people are going to each page and opting in, what you've earned from that or whatnot. So it's interesting to be able to track that. And again, what else you're doing with a website is really trying to gather people from who want to work with you. And so when we think about reporting and you're doing different ads, or let me go to my homepage real quick. So I like a platform that tells me where people are coming from. And so I can see which leads are coming from a particular person that has recommended us, or a particular, site, if they've come direct or if they've come from a particular website. This is something that you can learn in your analytics on a lot of different platforms. And I like to kind of watch the flow through the funnel of where my users are coming from. So when you're thinking about website, yes, the designer and the developer care about what the website looks like, but the business owner at the end of the day, they care about the conversions, right? Like what's actually happening once somebody visits your website. And so I think that's where funnels are. I'm a big fan of funnels. You'll notice that our main website at the Hive is actually, it's really a landing page. So this is one page. We used to not have any other pages. Like you would just go down this page. If you wanted to learn about memberships, it goes down to the membership page. So I've just linked it down to that section of the page. Of course, as you hit start today, it's going to send you to a landing page then. And on that landing page, there's going to be pretty much one button. The button, every time that button appears, it goes to the same place because I'm trying to control where you go on that site. I don't want you to just get lost in the mix of all the different pages on a website. So when people tell me they want lots of different pages, yes, that can be helpful for SEO, but there are other things you can do for SEO beyond just having a million pages on your site. Blogs are great. They do drive more traffic to your website. But I am a big fan of landing pages because they get a website live a lot faster. And it really does help accomplish that goal of what most business owners or people that you're building a website want, which is I want to be able to see how many people clicked on this. Something else I can monitor in this software that we use is if I'm in a particular contact, like which pages on my website they clicked on, which forms they filled out, what information they gave me. And then I can even go and use that in an automation and retarget them on social media. And so that's the stuff I get really excited about, is the marketing side that comes after the website. So once they have visited the website and putting a pixel, again, that gets kind of in the weeds too, but if it gets a pixel on their, I guess it's their, again, I'm getting kind of techy, but it's the browser that they're using and their session that they're using. And so that when that person comes back, as long as they haven't deleted their cookies, when they come back, you know, it's the same person that's visiting that site again. And you can even send them different information. So that can get very in the weeds, but you can do a lot of neat things with that, where you're wanting to retarget people across social media, different advertising, and to send them different pages. So you know they've been there before. Maybe you're going to send them to like the checkout where they abandoned checkout last time or something, or you send them an email and like, we noticed that you almost bought this item. You've probably gotten that kind of stuff. It feels creepy, but it's pretty cool for marketers. That's my kind of lots of information download about all the things I know about websites. Really, it all comes down to, what is the purpose? The purpose is to sell a product or service, or sell someone an idea of something. And as long as your website's able to communicate that to everyone possible. So that accessibility is important, because if you're wanting to communicate to somebody who has a disability that's keeping them from being able to view your website, you're losing that customer. And so you want to be able to, you know, communicate. Even we can get even more into that, where say somebody has ADHD and a website that's super flashy and distracting, I'm going to just go off of that. I'm not even going to interact with that website. So you might want to make sure that, you know, things are very clean and clear and calm, and, you know, the brand of a business needs to be infused into that website too. So with the design and layout, you're thinking about their colors, you're thinking about how they want the person to feel when they're on that website. With our website, with the Hive, I want people to feel connected. I want people to feel that sense of, you know, we're on your team, like you're working for yourself, not by yourself. I want it to be warm and cozy and comforting and calm. And those are kind of the elements. And so the colors I use, like words as sweet as honey, like the phrases and colors I use. We could do a whole session on copywriting and like the words that you use, like love to connect. And when I use buttons, you know, you try to use button copy. I didn't do a great job on this website, but, you know, let's do this, or let's go, or I'm done doing business alone. That's a good example. Like you don't have to say join or learn more. Those are really boring. You can get more interesting with that, and help people kind of say like, yes, I'm committing to my action as I hit that button. I think I went over time a little bit. I think it was it 30 minutes I had, Jessica? It's hard when I can't see the interaction with other people, but that's about all I have to cover. If people want to get in touch with me, they can go to our website, thehivewichita.com. You can also go to bffandbiz.com. That's the software that we white labeled, and it's kind of an all-in-one business software.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So no, you didn't go over time for us. I know you had someplace to go, I think, after this, but we're good to go. Do you have time to take a couple of questions,
Yes.
or do you need to pop out? Is that okay?
Yep.
Does anybody in the room have questions that you would like to ask? You will have to ask into the mic, otherwise she won't be able to hear you. Yeah, let me bring it back to you. Grant, I'm taking your job. I'm sorry.
Hi there, right here. So I really loved your insights about websites and just what they can do for your business. As I'm sure you're aware, in recent days, social media is also becoming a rather big tool for businesses. It's a way for people to see what they're saying about your business, and a good way to engage and interact with your audience and the consumers that that are associating with you. What would you say is more important for a business? Would you say it's more important for making that website, which obviously is like the epitome of the business? It's supposed to communicate their values and show what they do. Or do you think it's more important to establish a social media presence, especially in this ever-changing world where that's becoming more important and prevalent? What would you say is more important nowadays? Is it creating that website or establishing that social media presence?
Yeah, this is why I'm a big fan of landing pages. This is exactly why, because I think people get so stuck on, I have to have a website or I'm not a real business. And that's absolutely not true. But I do think that people check, so if I'm wanting to do business with somebody, I might find them on social media, but then I'm going to click to find their website so I can really find more information about how to actually work with them. And so I would say that, yes, social media is a great place to start. I actually started with social media with the Hive long before I had a website. I had a Facebook account or Facebook page and a Facebook group. At the time, groups were really big. And so I had a group, and that was basically how you could find all the information about the Hive until I had a website. So I would say if you're going to pick one or the other, yeah, social media is a great place to start if you're a very person to person led business. If you're a business to business led business, then you probably want to start with a website because you're working with more maybe corporate or companies are going to interact with you on your website. Individuals are going to interact with you in social media, right? But I do think individuals will fact check the website. So they're going to go, if I see you on social media and I get all excited about working with you, and then I see that you don't have a website, I'm definitely going to second guess it. I'm going to be like, is this the person? Is this real? Is this a real business? How long have they been around? They don't have a website yet. So I definitely think you could start with social media, but very quickly get at least a landing page up. And a landing page with your domain. Domains aren't that expensive. So just get your domain. That's another flag I see often is if somebody doesn't have a at their domain.com email. And it's such a simple thing to do, but a lot of people don't take that step. If you're emailing me from your Gmail, but you're asking me to pay you $1,000, I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but the higher that number gets that you're asking me to pay, the more I'm going to expect you to be showing up professionally. And so it's just super easy to get that at domain.com email. And so that's an important thing, I think, as you're communicating with people, that if you have that domain.com email and then you don't have your website, then that's kind of weird too, right? So I would say, yeah, start with social media, but get the website pretty quickly. But don't ideate over perfection. Just get it up. Just get something up. Get a landing page. Get a quick, on Instagram they do the link in bio. It could be real simple. It could just be like, click here to contact me. Click here for my PDF of my current pricing. Click here for whatever. It could just be like 3 buttons. But you need to have some sort of web presence.
Right, getting the name out there. Yeah. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, great question.
Other questions? We had one. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Come to you, Jordan.
Hi, I know you talked about WordPress, but have you used any other website hosting content? Like, I know there used to be like a website Gator or something like that a while back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for hosting, so there's so many options. I mean, gosh, you can use Wix. I've used Kajabi. I've used ClickFunnels. Those are more funnel based. I've used, there's trying to think. What are some of the ones recently? Website hosting. There's like domain and then there's hosting, right? So you can buy your domain one place and then host it somewhere else. And then there's like website designers. So a lot of the designers, I was just trying to you're pulling up my search in the background. But yeah, basically like things like Wix, let's see, Wix versus Squarespace, Shopify, if your e-commerce based, is a big one. You can do websites on Canva. There's also Google has a website builder. I mean, there's just so many. BFF and Biz is the one that I'm using and selling. And what I like about it is you can do unlimited hosting of websites. Like, I don't have to pay every time I host a website. It's just like as many as I want. Websites or landing pages for different businesses. And so, but there are so many. I mean, Wix is a super easy one, and Squarespace is super easy that I see a lot of people use. They've got a lot of good visual builders for websites. WordPress is like, I would only recommend WordPress for people if they were really like wanting to get in the weeds and do a lot of custom things. Like it's not the one I would recommend for just easy breezy drag and drop for sure.
Other questions?
I feel like sometimes if you just wait long enough, somebody pops up, but we might be good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. We very much appreciate, I'm not in the camera. Here I am. Thank you.